There are moments in life when everything feels like it's collapsing, not just around you, but within you. It could be the unexpected end of a relationship you thought would last forever. A job loss that makes you question your worth. A diagnosis that changes your future in a single sentence. Or maybe it's just the slow, quiet wear and tear of carrying emotional burdens for too long, with no one noticing you're struggling. And yet, the world keeps spinning. People keep saying the same thing: just stay strong. But what does that really mean? What does mental strength look like when your mind is clouded by fear, your heart is full of grief, and your future feels like it's been wiped clean? This video isn't going to tell you to be positive or look on the bright side. Because sometimes there is no bright side. Sometimes everything really is falling apart. And in those moments, what you need is not a motivational quote. You need tools, clarity, grounding, and most of all, permission to not be okay. The strongest people are not those who show strength in front of us, but those who win battles we know nothing about. Jonathan Harnish. Let's look at what science says. A study published in the Journal of Health Psychology found that individuals experiencing major life disruptions, like death, divorce, financial loss, are 2 to 3 times more likely to suffer from chronic stress-related health issues within 1 year of the event. In 2023, the World Health Organization reported that over 280 million people worldwide were living with depression, many of them triggered by sudden life upheavals like loss, trauma, or burnout, squared. That's not just a mental health issue. It's a resilience crisis. And it's not because people are weak. It's because no one teaches us how to mentally survive the collapse, how to be psychologically flexible, emotionally grounded, and spiritually stable when everything familiar is taken away. It's not stress that kills us, it's how we respond to it. Hans Selye, pioneer of stress research. We're conditioned to believe that strength means pushing through no matter what. To keep smiling. Keep working. Keep performing, even when we're emotionally bleeding. Social media doesn't help. You scroll past quotes like, "Tough times don't last, tough people do. Pain is weakness leaving the body. Just grind through it." But behind those polished posts, many people are secretly drowning in shame, exhaustion, and isolation. As researcher and author Dr. Brené Brown puts it in her book The Gifts of Imperfection, we don't have to do all of it alone. We were never meant to. So why are we so afraid to say, "I'm not okay"? Let's be clear, mental strength isn't pretending nothing's wrong. It's not suppressing emotions or pretending to be happy. It's not toxic positivity. Mental strength is staying grounded in the storm, not denying that a storm exists. It's the ability to respond to crisis with clarity, adapt to loss without losing yourself, and face reality without becoming bitter. Psychologist Dr. Susan David, author of Emotional Agility, writes, "Courage is not an absence of fear. Courage is fear walking. The pain you're feeling is valid, and you're not alone if you're going through something right now that feels like too much. This video is for you. Not to fix you. Not to judge you. But to walk with you. Because behind every calm-looking life, there's a storm someone survived. And if no one else has said it to you today, you're still here. And that means something. Why life collapses, and why it feels like personal failure. There's a moment that happens in every life, when the structure you've built begins to fall apart. Sometimes it's gradual, stress that builds over years, burnout that creeps in silently. Other times, it's instant, a breakup, a loss, a phone call that changes everything. And when that collapse happens, it doesn't just shake your circumstances. It shakes your identity. You start to question everything. What did I do wrong? Why didn't I see this coming? Is this all my fault? This is one of the most painful illusions the mind creates, the belief that if something in your life failed, then you are a failure. But that's not true. And here's why. When life falls apart, It activates your brain's survival systems. The amygdala, your fear center, goes into overdrive. Cortisol, the stress hormone, floods your body. Your nervous system gets trapped in fight, flight, or freeze. You're not just sad or stressed, you're in emotional emergency mode. According to a 2018 study in Frontiers in Psychology, when people experience major disruption, like losing a job, divorce, or illness, they are significantly more likely to report feelings of shame and self-blame, even if the event was completely outside their control. This is because humans are meaning-making creatures. We try to make sense of pain by turning inward, it must be me. But the truth is, sometimes life breaks, not because you failed, but because systems fail, people change, or circumstances shift in ways no one could have predicted. 2 lies we tell ourselves. Lie number 1. If I were stronger, this wouldn't have happened. Truth. Even strong people get overwhelmed. Mental strength is not immunity, it's recovery. Lie number 2. Everyone else is handling life better than me. Truth. Most people are struggling silently. Strength isn't loud, it's hidden in the quiet moments of choosing not to give up. Alex Miles says, "You are not broken. You are breaking through." Or as psychiatrist and trauma expert Dr. G.O.A.T writes, "The attempt to escape from pain is what creates more pain." When you blame yourself for life collapsing, you double the suffering, first from the event itself, and then from the emotional beating you give yourself afterward. So here's the truth, things fall apart. Plans collapse. People leave. Health fades. Dreams end. Not because you're weak. Not because you messed up. But because life is unpredictable, and you are human. Mental strength begins when you stop taking life's chaos personally. Only then can you begin to rebuild, from truth, not shame. The psychology of resilience, why some people survive and others grow. So why is it that some people fall apart for years after a crisis, while others somehow manage to grow through the pain? Why do some people stay emotionally stuck, and others become stronger, wiser, even more grounded after everything breaks? The answer isn't luck. And it's not about being tough. It comes down to resilience, and more importantly, what kind of resilience you build. So what is resilience, actually? Resilience isn't about bouncing back, it's about bouncing forward. According to the American Psychological Association, resilience is the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, or significant sources of stress. It doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means you don't get stuck in pain. You move through it. At your own pace. In your own way. Resilience is learned, not inherited. Dr. Martin Seligman, a pioneer of positive psychology, found that resilience isn't something you're born with, it's something you build, based on how you interpret the events in your life. He introduced the concept of explanatory style, the internal narrative you tell yourself when bad things happen. People who are resilient tend to explain setbacks in 3 key ways. 1. Temporary, this won't last forever. 2. Specific, this is hard, but it's not everything. 3. External, this happened, but it doesn't define who I am. In contrast, those who get emotionally stuck often interpret crisis as permanent, my life will always be like this. Pervasive, everything is ruined. Personal, this is my fault. I'm a failure. This subtle shift in mindset determines whether someone spirals or slowly rebuilds. Do you know what neuroscience shows? On a biological level, your brain reacts to stress in predictable ways. Amygdala activity increases, fear response. Prefrontal cortex function weakens, decision-making, logic. Cortisol floods your system, stress hormone. But here's the hopeful part. Your brain is not fixed. Through a process called neuroplasticity, your brain can literally rewire itself after trauma, forming new connections, beliefs, and habits. A 2017 study published in Nature Neuroscience showed that even in adults, targeted emotional practices, like reframing thoughts or building mindfulness, could significantly reduce emotional reactivity and improve resilience in just 8 weeks, squared. In her best-selling book Emotional Agility, psychologist Dr. Susan David emphasizes that resilience comes from navigating emotions, not avoiding them. Discomfort is the price of admission to a meaningful life, she writes. Courage is fear walking. True resilience isn't about being fearless. It's about moving forward anyway, especially when you're afraid. There are 2 kinds of people who come out of crisis: survivors, who do what it takes to get through; growers, who do what it takes to get stronger. Both are valid. But if you're watching this video, you're not just looking to survive. You're looking to transform. And that begins with how you see yourself, not as a victim of life, but as someone who can shape a new chapter, even from broken pieces. Always remember these 5 habits of real, mental strength. When everything falls apart, it's not enough to say, be resilient. You need something to do. Something to practice. Mental strength isn't a personality trait, it's a daily habit. A mindset you train like a muscle. And the good news is, it doesn't start with huge, dramatic acts. It starts with small internal shifts that rewire how you meet pain, chaos, and uncertainty. Here are 5 science-backed, soul-grounded habits that help build real mental strength, especially when life is at its hardest. 1. Radical acceptance. Stop fighting reality. The first habit of mentally strong people isn't about action. It's about surrender. Not surrender to the pain, but surrender to the truth. Radical acceptance means this: this is happening. I don't like it, but I accept that it's real. It sounds simple. But in moments of collapse, we often resist what is. This shouldn't be happening. This isn't fair. This isn't what I planned. That resistance doesn't protect you, it paralyzes you. As mindfulness teacher Tara Brach writes in her book Radical Acceptance, the boundary to what we can accept is the boundary to our freedom. A 2021 study published in Clinical Psychology Review found that acceptance-based therapies significantly reduce anxiety and depression symptoms, often more effectively than avoidance-based or distraction techniques. So instead of forcing yourself to be strong, practice saying, I accept this moment as it is, and I will respond from here. 2. Micro-control. Shrink the frame. When life feels out of control, your nervous system panics. You spiral into questions with no answers. What if this never gets better? How will I survive the next year? What if everything I've worked for is gone? The solution? Shrink your focus. Micro-control means asking, what's one small thing I can control today? It could be making your bed, taking a 10-minute walk, eating something nourishing, answering one email, drinking a glass of water. These seem minor, but they restore a sense of agency. And agency is the antidote to helplessness. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. Each small act becomes a brick in your emotional foundation. Start small. Start now. 3. Mental anchoring. Create inner stability in chaos. Your external world feels unsafe. So mentally strong people create internal anchors, rituals, reminders, or routines that keep them grounded. Examples of anchors: a phrase or mantra, this storm will pass; a memory, I've made it through worst; a daily ritual, morning tea, stretching, prayer, journaling; a person or image that reminds you of your strength. These become emotional footholds, points of stability when everything else feels unstable. In trauma therapy, this is known as grounding, bringing your mind back to the present to stop it from spinning into the past or future. A 2019 review in the Journal of Traumatic Stress found that regular grounding practices significantly improved emotional regulation and reduced dissociation in people experiencing crisis, squared. Anchors don't fix the storm, but they remind you, you're not lost in it. 4. Emotional processing, not suppression. You've probably heard the phrase, don't break down, stay strong. But here's the truth: crying is strong. Venting is strong. Feeling everything and still choosing to show up, that's strength. Mentally strong people don't suppress emotions. They process them. That could mean journaling your anger or sadness, talking to a friend or therapist, screaming into a pillow, letting yourself cry without judgment. Research from the University of Texas shows that people who express difficult emotions are less likely to develop long-term mental health issues compared to those who suppress them. Cubed. Suppressing emotions isn't strength, it's pressure. And pressure builds until it breaks. Processing is a release valve. It's how you clear the emotional fog so you can think clearly again. 5. Purpose-focused resilience. Know your why. When life falls apart, motivation disappears. You don't feel like fighting. You don't feel like moving. You ask yourself, what's the point? That's where this final habit matters most. Purpose-focused resilience means connecting with a deeper reason to keep going. As Viktor Frankl famously said, those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. Your why doesn't have to be grand. It could be your child, your future self, a dream you still believe in, a version of you that deserves peace. A 2020 study in the Journal of Positive Psychology found that people who reconnected with personal meaning during crisis recovered faster and reported higher levels of emotional strength up to 1 year later. To the power of 4. When you remember your why, the how becomes bearable. So, real mental strength isn't dramatic. It's quiet. It's built one decision at a time. Accept the moment as it is, take small actions to reclaim control, anchor yourself in what matters, feel what needs to be felt, and never lose sight of why you're still here. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to stay honest and keep showing up. We talk a lot about what mental strength is. But sometimes, the most powerful clarity comes from knowing what it's not. Because too often, we mistake performance for strength and silence for courage. Let's break that illusion. Mental strength isn't pretending everything is fine. You don't have to smile through the pain. You don't have to fake positivity when you're falling apart. You don't have to keep saying, "I'm okay," when you're not. In fact, pretending is exhausting, and it keeps you stuck in survival mode instead of healing mode. You can't heal what you refuse to feel. Jay Shetty. True strength begins the moment you admit, "This hurts." It's not about being unaffected. Mental strength doesn't mean being numb. It means feeling everything, fear, grief, anger, and still choosing to move forward with grace. Strong people cry. They collapse. They take breaks. They walk away from things that are killing their peace. And then, they come back. Not because the pain is gone, but because they've learned how to carry it differently. It's not constant hustle or control. Strength isn't about having all the answers. It's about being able to say, "I don't know, but I trust I'll figure it out." It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters, even if that means doing less. In a culture that glorifies non-stop productivity, sometimes the strongest thing you can do is rest. So what really is mental strength? It's honesty in chaos, grace under pressure, the ability to pause, reflect, and respond, rather than react. It's choosing healing over hiding, and truth over pretending. As Brené Brown writes in Daring Greatly, vulnerability sounds like truth and feels like courage. Truth and courage aren't always comfortable. But they're never weakness. Mental strength is quiet. It doesn't shout. It whispers, "Keep going," even if it's slow, and right now, that might be the bravest thing you're doing. Reset rituals, real tools to stabilize your mind. By now, you've heard the mindset shifts and emotional habits that build mental strength. But what about the moments when your mind is spiraling and your body is tense, and you just need something that works, right now? That's where reset rituals come in. Reset rituals are short, grounding actions designed to break the loop of anxiety, calm the nervous system, bring you back into the present moment. remind you that you're still in control of something. Here are 3 science-backed tools that people use in real time when everything feels overwhelming. 1. The 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. This is a fast and powerful sensory reset. It brings your attention back into your body, pulling you out of mental chaos and into physical presence. Here's how it works. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste, or imagine tasting. By engaging all 5 senses, your mind is forced to leave the "what if" zone and come back to the here and now. A 2022 review in Behavior Research and Therapy confirmed that multisensory grounding exercises like this reduce anxiety symptoms significantly, even after a few minutes. Use this technique anytime you feel panic, dissociation, or overwhelming stress. It's a nervous system reset, and it works. Blank. Blank. 2. Your emergency calm list. When you're overwhelmed, it's hard to remember what helps. Your brain is too busy sounding alarms. That's why you need a pre-made list. 5 things that always help you calm down or feel a little more like yourself. Examples: listening to your favorite calming playlist, going for a short walk, drinking something warm, holding a weighted blanket or object, writing 1 sentence in a journal, breathing in for 4 seconds, out for 6. Proven to lower cortisol. Make this list when you're calm. Stick it to your mirror. Put it in your phone notes. It's not just self-care, it's emergency care. 3. The boundary statement. Sometimes, the most powerful mental reset is a sentence that sets a boundary with your own mind. Try this. I don't have to fix everything today. I only need to survive today. Or, I am allowed to rest without guilt. Or, not everything that demands my attention deserves my energy. These are micro-boundaries, ways of telling your overthinking brain that you're not its servant. Research from Stanford University's Center for Compassion shows that self-directed compassion practices reduce emotional exhaustion and increase resilience, especially when practiced in short, daily statements. Squared. Boundaries aren't just for other people. Sometimes, the boundaries you set with yourself are the ones that heal you the most. Use these tools daily, not just in crisis. The goal isn't to use these only when you're overwhelmed. Use them regularly. Let them become your reset rituals, quiet habits that build emotional stability. Even 5 minutes a day can train your brain to pause before panic and respond instead of react. Remember, healing isn't a one-time moment. It's a pattern, one that you repeat until it rewires how you live. Remember, you're still here, and that means something. If you've made it this far, first, take a deep breath. Not because everything is fixed, but because you showed up for yourself today. You paused, you reflected, and you listened. And that alone is proof you haven't given up. A quiet kind of strength. We often think of strength as loud, unshakable, confident, stoic. But real mental strength? It's quiet. It's the decision to get out of bed when you feel nothing. It's the moment you choose not to spiral, even though you could. It's telling yourself, one more day, let's try again. You're still here. That breakup didn't destroy you. That job loss didn't erase your value. That diagnosis didn't take away your worth. That emotional collapse didn't end your story. You're still here. And that means something. Sometimes surviving is a superpower. Author unknown. Every day you wake up and keep moving, no matter how small the steps, you are rewriting the definition of resilience. You are living proof that broken doesn't mean beaten. A gentle reminder. If no one's told you this lately, you don't have to carry it all. You are allowed to fall apart and still be worthy. You can rest without guilt. You are not behind. You are in process. And more than anything, you are not alone in this. If this video gave you something to hold onto, a thought, a breath, a sense of peace, Subscribe to Mindcrafters. We create content for moments like this, when your world feels heavy, and you need tools to stay grounded, calm, and whole. And if you know someone who's struggling in silence, send them this video. It might say what they've been trying to hear. You're doing better than you think. Stay kind. Stay steady. And keep going.